Hello and welcome to Sketchplanations, the podcast. We're back after a lovely long summer break and we're raring to go headstrong into the autumn with more fortnightly conversations on the hows, whys and wherefores of the world, all inspired by the intriguing collection of sketches at sketchplanations.com. I'm engineer and broadcaster Rob Bell, and joining me is designer and creator of Sketchplanations John O'Hay and entrepreneur and past winner of The Apprentice, Tom Pellereau. Hello.
Hello.
It's been a little while, chaps.
It has. You're looking well, Rob.
Thanks, mate. The summer's been and gone. We've all got our summer glows, our summer tans.
Not gone yet, is it? Oh.
We're in September. It is autumn, isn't it?
It feels like it already. But it's good to be back. Definitely.
It is lovely to be back. So let's crack straight on. This time we're talking about ways to instantly feel better. Now, you should be able to see Jono's sketch for this up on your podcast player screens now as the artwork for the episode. But I definitely urge you to follow the link in the show notes to see the sketch in a larger format at sketchplanations.com as you listen, if you can, at least. So that's a pretty compelling opening line, right? Listen to this episode to find out ways to instantly feel better in yourself.
Yeah, the Daily Mail would love that.
It is a proper clickbait title before. It's It feels like that. But Jono, can you kick us off and just make sure we all feel better than we do now?
I don't know if I can guarantee that, but
can you give us a flavour of what this sketchplanation is about and why you wanted to draw it?
Yeah, I will agree with you that it's a well-named meme, I would probably call it. So this is not a wholly original creation by any means. It's something I saw. It was shared by an account I follow called Information is Beautiful, which is run by David McCandless, and he's run a few amazing books of displaying information in beautiful ways. Anyway, he shared a version of this, which is How to Instantly Feel Better, which, I want to read just from that title. But it was sort of lacking quite a lot. And I could relate a lot to the different things in it. And I could just imagine, and I wanted to sort of create my own version of it, which had a bit more personality than just words. And so How to Instantly Feel Better is a set of 8 emotions, I'd say somewhat negative emotions that you might be feeling, and ways that you can sort those out straight away. And so you'll see hopefully 16 little people on your screen that we can work our way through.
And there is a lot of character in it, Jono, as well, which is what you do so brilliantly in all of your sketchplanations, explaining things through the power of simple sketches. So I think mission accomplished for you in that sense. But shall we just go through each one then? Each of these suggested proactive, positive responses to, as you said, Jono, negative emotions one by one, and see what we think of them as cures.
Well, before anyone gets angry, and then we have to start singing.
Well, Tommy, thank you very much for teeing us up with the first one. So the first one suggests that if you are feeling the emotion of anger, if you are angry, a way to instantly feel better is to sing. What do we think about that?
I mean, it's nice, isn't it? What a lovely way to dispel anger. And I was trying to think through my mind the times that I've done that, or if I've done that.
Yeah.
And I think there are times where I might have really gone for a song. If you're by yourself, when you can really go for it and it's the right song. But I wasn't totally sure if my anger disappears, but I think I do feel better. But I might still be suitably angry if I'm belting out a song. But anyway, nobody else has seen this because I would only ever do this by myself.
John has never been angry in his life, as far as I'm concerned.
It's a good one for the car, this one, isn't it?
Right,
exactly that.
Perfect. Great. Here we go. Let's pile in, Tommy. Go.
So I get irrationally angry in the car quite a lot, actually. And I drive the kids to school, to and from, and I don't. It's not a good look, like yelling at someone with anger when you've got your own kids in the car. So I try hard not to, and regularly I find myself kind of going into a hum or a song or la 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 la, and because of you now, Jono, I actually know that is my body's kind of reaction, and it is helping me because I do regularly find myself singing to dispel that anger, or just to try and not show that anger in front of my kids in the car. And maybe that's also why so many of us enjoy singing in the car, because it stops us getting angry when someone carves up or does something idiotic at the lights.
Well, this was going to be my kind of test, and my train of thought along this was, what are the times when I regularly get angry? What are the triggers for me that makes me angry? Tommy, driving, I think, is one that's very, very common. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. And so the singing, I don't think I do sing when I feel angry. So this is a really good one for me.
Give it a try.
I will give it a try.
Just hum a few bars. Like, I think just this sort of starting there, just la 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 la, it just sort of makes you feel more joyful. I think sometimes.
You sound drunk.
Drunks can be very joyful.
Drunks is good as well.
I guess that's not one of the options. But
when I was thinking about my life, the thing that I tend to get angry at, I was going to say regularly, frequently, it's tech. It's when tech doesn't do what I want it to do. Because I'm not interested enough to understand how tech works. I'm not that interested in tech. I'm not interested in how it works. I am so curious and love understanding how so many things in this world work. But when it comes to tech, I just don't care. I just need it to work. And occasionally idiots on the road. But my release for that, again, if I'm on my own, if I know I'm in the house on my own, is I just let out this guttural, really loud scream. And it's really short. It's about a second long, but it's so loud. Sometimes it scares me. So I'm going to try and replace that with singing now, whenever that happens.
Because you're a good singer as well, right? You can sing well.
Oh,
yeah. I've seen you play. You know, you weren't.
You've seen me play. You haven't heard me sing.
You were also like a backing singer. You don't. You know, I've never seen you as the lead singer in a band, but you're always like the backing singer. God. You can hold the tune. Well.
He builds you up. He builds you up. I've never been a lead singer, but I will try that. But I was thinking that I do quite a lot of nonsensical singing at the moment, the kind of la-di-da-di-da type stuff, because I've got a really, really young daughter, and so you just end up singing everything to her. You know, we're going down the shop, and what do you want to buy?
It makes them smile, right, doesn't it? It really does.
Exactly. Well, and so there's a link there, right? So if you can make yourself smile when you're angry, maybe that's it.
And I'm not sure it necessarily has to be singing. It could just be any form of kind of music. You know, strumming along or humming or kind of making some kind of tune, I think works possibly just as well.
But what is it? What's going on when you introduce some form of music or singing that relieves that anger?
Dr. Hay, I'm sure, can explain.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know, but I would say that the singing is very close to you just letting out that scream, right? It's the same kind of reaction, isn't it? But maybe channeled in a slightly nicer way. Maybe we need to pick the right song. Pick the right song, which... puts our anger back in place, gives us some perspective.
There is, I think they're a Belgian pretty heavy metal band called, I think they're called Gorefest, and a lot of their singing is basically screaming. So arguably, I am doing it.
Singing. That's lovely.
Look up Gorefest, you'll see what I mean.
Or maybe not.
Let's move on to the second emotion. I went down the left-hand side, then down the right-hand column, John. So I've gone to, if you're feeling burned out, the suggestion is go for a walk.
I mean, going for a walk, it just comes up again and again, doesn't it? It's pretty much cure for so much stuff. I was thinking that if you're burned out, we should probably also have sleep here. That's probably not a bad one to have if you're burned out. But certainly going for a walk outside is a fantastic cure, I would say, for me, to help me feel better if I'm feeling burned out. Even if I'm feeling, you know, if you've had a long day at work and you're on your commute back or something and there's a walking stretch, there's something about that little bit of walking that really helps, which is actually, I think you miss out if you drive like door to door. It's actually quite nice to get out of the train station and have that 10-minute walk, and you're sort of reset when you come back in the door somewhat. So.
With commutes especially?
I think so, yeah.
I drive pretty much door to door. But fortunately, my work is on a farm, effectively. So I do go for quite a lot of walks at lunchtime or in the afternoon. I try to make sure I get out every day for at least a 5-minute walk. There's something about the cadence of walking that kind of really relaxes you, isn't it? Apparently.
Yeah, especially on a farm, going out to milk the cows, feed the chickens.
I don't actually work on the farm, like, you know.
Sorry. I was being flippant, Tommy. Sorry. When I looked at this one, I'm not sure I'd recognise if I was feeling burned out over feeling a bit tired, a bit sleepy. I'm not sure I've experienced feeling burnt out, or maybe I just don't really know what it means. But like, how does feeling tired and feeling burned out differ?
Or being stressed. Sometimes quite difficult to tell the difference between those.
Yeah, burnout's a sort of combination of everything, isn't it? You're sort of beaten down throughout the day. You're refusing to take on sort of more inputs. You can't make progress on stuff. You're not actually doing anything useful anymore.
Okay.
And I think you're right. You don't always necessarily notice it in yourself. You might just be carrying on, but actually, if you go for a walk, you feel better. But you might not think to go for a walk, if you know what I mean. You might just be pressing on.
Yes, which I definitely will come on to later as well. But there's you've got another sketch as well, haven't you, Johnny, that relates to this a little bit? It is solved through walking. There's a Latin phrase for it. Was it like Pensius Promenadus or something?
It's a good try. It's there's one called Solvitur Ambulando.
I was close.
I much work on my pronunciation. But yeah, it basically means it's solved by walking, which is that you go out for a walk and your mind churns through a problem or works on something, and that helps you come to like a solution, rather than sitting at your desk or something and trying to work through it. Actually having that external stimulus and getting your body moving and everything helps your mind work on it.
And I love that. I totally subscribe to that. I think the tip here perhaps is or the practical tip here is possibly about that commute then. After a really tough day at work, perhaps, on the way home, make sure you can build in some form of walking in that, maybe.
Yeah, or even just out in the evening. I mean, I think everybody would benefit from a bit of walking each day. If you can make time for it. Like Tom says, about 5 minutes, even at lunch, just get out away from your desk.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. The third one. If you feel like you're overthinking something, get a flipping pen out, piece of paper, and write. Now, this works for me, but very specifically around to-do lists. To-do lists and breaking down larger problems into much more manageable tasks. If that is just too big a thing, I can't figure this whole thing out, or if I've got loads of things that I know I need to do, I find writing those down, either breaking down a big problem into manageable tasks or getting a to-do list down, means that I can stop trying to think about everything, or probably it's actually trying not to forget something that is in that little whirlwind of thoughts.
Yeah, I think half the time we're like trying to balance and hold all of these things in our heads, and so you can't get on with something else because you're trying, as you say, to not forget this other important thing that's going on. And so I remember for quite a period of my life, I used to start every day not at the desk, but with a notebook and a pen, and just sit there for 20 minutes. It was a brilliant practice. I kind of wish I did it now again. I don't know why I don't.
Really good idea.
Doing what? Is that to do a to-do list, or could it be journaling of some form? Because I know that is something that is believed can really help, clear up some productive thinking brain capacity, to just sit down and write, whatever it might be, just let stuff flow out from you. I've been advised to do that by a coach I've worked with.
Yeah, there's a really well-known book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and she recommends something called morning pages. And morning pages is you start each day with 3 pages of long handwriting just first thing in the morning.
Anything. That
is anything. And it's actually, at the beginning at least, you're not even supposed, first of all, nobody else is supposed to read this. And you're not even necessarily supposed to read it. It's just about getting your hand moving and getting things out of your head and freeing the space for the rest of the day. And I can't say that I've done it. I mean, actually in a writing group on a regular basis, and a lot of people do it there. And so clearly people get a lot of value from it. So yeah, I mean, I'd highly recommend giving it a go, because clearly it works for a lot of people, I think. When I talked about like sitting down with my notebook, I'm not necessarily just writing a to-do list for the day. Sometimes there's stuff, you write something and then you think something else around it, and it's just about not forgetting things. It doesn't necessarily have to be this is what you have to do that day. But I think, the morning pages is even more general than that. Just write 3 pages, don't stop, start to finish. Yeah,
get the brain lubricated and fluent.
Yeah, so we should try it. Are you overthinking much these days?
No, but I have tried a little bit of journaling, just sitting down and writing. I think I probably started laughing to myself. I was like, I had no idea. I'm just letting my hand just write. It's the kind of, I ended up writing the kind of thing I do when I'm having a fake phone conversation when I'm trying to ignore somebody. is just absolute nonsense.
I have done an exercise once where you literally, you're not supposed to stop writing, like you can't lift your pen off the paper, it's got to keep moving, and you end up doing things like, I'm still writing this sentence even though it's going on and on, that kind of junk. But you get past that and other stuff comes out, and if you keep doing it.
I've got a thought for you. It's one of my new favourite things to use AI with, in the fact that I don't find I can write down stuff quick enough, and I also don't find I can type. So I've started to dictate to an AI quite regularly when I've just got so much on my mind of various different things to get done. And what I love is the fact that I can just drivel on it. I can say, oh yeah, I've got to do this, and can you remind me, I've got to talk to Sarah about this, and I've got to do that for the school, and I've got to work on it, and da. And AI is amazing at taking completely unrelated sort of blurge of information and then reordering it into, okay, you wanted to talk to Brandon about these 5 things, you wanted to do these for home, you wanted to do, and it is really powerful way, and you can get so much information out so quickly that they're like, okay, breathe, and now I can look at that list or that text that it's created, which is usually much nicer than I could have written, and I've found it really quite useful. They're now written down so I can be more relaxed.
Very good. Right, the next one. If you're feeling anxious, a way to instantly make yourself feel better is to breathe. Now, I used to think this was a little bit hippy-dippy. I'm going to say, just breathe, just breathe. But boy, it works. I fully subscribe to this one. But also, I now know there's science, right? There's physiology to it as well.
One of the articles I found, a version of this list on, talked about these science-backed ways to instantly feel better. And of all of these, certainly breathing as a way of controlling your body's signal, bringing your heart rate down, and bringing your breathing rate down, and allowing you to focus and concentrate properly again, is undoubtedly effective.
You do some of this in antenatal classes, right? You do, the breathing to get your body away from the fight and flight mode that it might be feeling in, to get it back into calm, relaxed mode. And you breathing sends very different messages to your brain by the chemicals that you're releasing or not releasing in that way. I won't go into all the physiology of it, but it is bloody good hard science behind this one. And I actively do it if I'm about to go on stage for a live gig. If I'm doing something live, like, I don't know, after dinner or hosting events or something, I will backstage do some deep breaths before I go on, which I find is very calming because I've always got a few little nerves before I get started. And before I go to sleep, when I'm in bed sometimes, if I've had a busy day, like we were talking about earlier, I find some just deep, controlled breathing really helps. Just, okay, everything's good, everything's fine, we're nice and relaxed.
Yeah, I think even a minute of it is remarkably effective. Yeah, the little person sat on the chair.
Yes, on the sketch. We should talk about the sketch in each one as well, because they're very fun.
Anyway, yeah, so they've got their hand on their belly and their hand on their chest, and they've got 4 little dots because, in my mind, they were doing what's called box breathing.
Very good.
Which I have a sketch on also, and it's called box breathing because you breathe in, and you imagine going up one side of a box for the count of 4, and then you hold along the top of the box for 4, and then you breathe out slowly for 4, and then you hold with your breath out for 4, and you come back round for the square. And I just imagine this little person doing that, and everything suddenly feeling calm. Look how calm they look.
They look calm, especially compared to the anxious lad who's
struggling.
I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do with that chair. Tommy, do you use or have you used breathing techniques in the past to help alleviate anxiety in a situation?
Not enough. I think would be the honest answer to that. I think it's a very good idea. As you say, before going on stage, it's a really good plan. I've got a couple of big events next week, so I'll make sure I do that.
I know whenever I do go on stage, my first 30 seconds can be quite quick in terms of the delivery of what I'm saying. The adrenaline's going, and so I'm banging through it. Whereas as an audience member, I would feel more reassured by whoever it was who was up on stage if there was an element of calmness about them.
Yeah, we did a really fun episode on something called the awkwardness vortex, which was exactly this kind of thing when you might be in that sort of situation and then you start focusing on your body and you start sweating and you're wondering what people are thinking about it. And breathing is just the right sort of technique to help get out of that vortex of downward spiral of anxiety and awkwardness.
And do you know the lovely one about this is we have to breathe anyway. Right?
That is true, isn't it? Yeah.
All you have to do is just do it a bit harder.
Well, you say that, but actually one of the things I thought about when I was doing this is sometimes when I'm feeling anxious or if I'm trying to do something really hard, I've had coaches or an instructor tell me, don't forget to breathe. And you realise that you're sat there and you're actually holding your breath because you're concentrating so hard on something that you forgot to breathe. And of course, breathing, as you say, is quite useful, and it helps our body function properly. So you say we have to do it anyway, but it's easy to forget if you're feeling really anxious.
Right, let's move on. If you're feeling stressed, exercise.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the number one, really, isn't it?
I would say that the two of you are incredibly consciously competent that when you're stressed, that exercise is the solution. Whereas I would say a lot of us think that drinking or watching telly or eating foods are kind of the best thing for this. Which I noticed that drinking alcohol, stuffing chocolate in your face, eating sweets are nowhere to be seen on this list, which
true,
is what
that.
a lot of us would normally turn to. Like, for example, eating Haribo, one of my best how to instantly feel better, doesn't seem to appear on Jono's list. Neither does coffee, alcohol. It's a very different list to I think what many might feel should be on here. But in terms of stressed, I've had a very stressful couple of days. I knew I was coming on this, and I saw this before I went stressed. Exercise, okay. Just set up a stationary bike, so I did a 30-minute stationary bike, and I feel as a result much better. I was also
just
late.
now before.
Yeah, that's why.
Before
that's
you
why
came
I was
on.
late, because I was doing a stationary bike.
Is that why you're in a sports top?
That's why I'm wearing a sports top. I have at least cooled down from the sweating that I had going on earlier. It's so obvious, but I think to many of us it's not, and the two of you are brilliant at it.
Well, having just done that, Tommy, then how do you feel about what you were feeling stressed about beforehand, if I can ask that?
That's a very good question. I think certainly exercise does seem to reduce the kind of importance of stressful things, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
Your physical body feels like it's doing something, whereas often when you're stressed, your physical body actually has no say in it.
One of the things that exercise, particularly if you go outside, I think it gives me perspective on something, especially if you do just a jog around the streets or in a park or something, puts a problem in its place. It doesn't mean that it's not a serious thing that you still got to deal with, but it just sort of reconnects you with the rest of the world, is what I find.
I wondered if, Tommy, you might mention urgency, because I find that a lot of the time I'm feeling stressed because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that feels urgent. It needs to be done. I'm like, I don't have the time to do this. I'm getting stressed about it. And so I wondered if after having done exercise, it was feeling like what did feel urgent feels less urgent now.
Sometimes if I'm stressed about something and I go do some exercise, I come back and I've now got less time to do the thing that is stressing me out. So perhaps that's an exception, but maybe I do a better job when I come back to it. I don't know.
Well, so Tommy, and I will take your compliment earlier but I'm afraid to say it's not the case for me. I exercise not because I feel stressed. I exercise for other reasons. But when I'm stressed about stuff, I actively don't exercise because I feel like, no, my time right now needs to be dedicated to this. And I know through experience that going down the gym or going for a run or going for a ride or whatever it might be will help me deal with this better. But in the moment, I rarely make the decision to go and do exercise and just keep ploughing on. Come on, I will get there. Come on. Whereas I know through experience that if I stopped, go and do some exercise, as Jono said, with hours and less time to do it, I will be much more effective. So yeah, but that's good to talk that out. And I'd really love to be better at that. I'd really love to just say, no, come on, do it, stop.
One of the things
run
that
away
irritates me about exercise is how hot and sweaty you get. You then have to have a shower or you then have to cool down, and that can double the amount of time that the exercise takes, which does slightly irritate me. And I look forward to sorting that out. I really at work want to set up like a highly air-conditioned room with a standing bike inside that I can fire fans at myself when I'm doing it. Put some effort in, but not actually get any hotter. I think I'll do that one day. I'll set it up create like a fridge where basically you have a
really loud, windy fridge. I mean, it
exactly.
sounds like quite a stressful environment to walk into to me.
Exactly. Anyway, one day. These are genuinely things that I think about quite a lot.
I know they are, Tommy. And I love that you come on here and voice them. They're brilliant.
If someone else could solve it for me, that would be also great.
No, you're the problem solver. All right, let's move on. If you're feeling sad, how do I word this? If you're feeling sad,
be grateful.
Remember gratitude. Be grateful. Thank you. Yes. The old wordsmith here doing his job. If you're feeling sad, be grateful.
Yeah, I think this is a tricky one, but a good one. And being grateful, I think, is just a practice in your life which will help you out. Just having always I can't bring myself to say it, but an attitude of gratitude.
Oh, I said it. I said it.
I do think that's true, but I was thinking, like, when you're feeling sad, it's hard if you've lost somebody, or if you think back to something that was great and now you don't have it anymore. It's hard to do that reframe. Instead of going like, what have I lost? You start to go, well, what did I have? And what brilliant times, how much I got out of that. And I do think that does work. And you see people who they seem sort of naturally happy, but they have that kind of attitude all the time about, it's like all the good things. They focus on the good things. But I think when you're feeling sad, that's difficult.
It is. And yeah, you mentioned it, the one example I came up with here, God, we put a massive downer in the middle of the podcast. It is when you've lost someone. That's the saddest I think I've been in my life. But then absolutely, as is laid out here, by reflecting on the times that you've had with them and being grateful for them being part of your life in some way and focusing on the memories that you've made with them, that is a means of trying to deal with that sadness for sure. Yep, absolutely.
You don't have to be sad to get the benefits of gratitude. There are other practices, a bit like the morning pages, where it's, sit down and write one thing you're grateful for every morning. And that kind of practice can help tune yourself to look for the positive in things and think about the goodness in your situation and everything you do have as opposed to everything you don't have. Not something I do all the time deliberately. And I wish I did. You hear about these practices and you're like, oh, I should do that. Why don't I do that? It'd take me 10 seconds. But
that would have worked.
Yeah.
One of the biggest benefits of daily praying, which many people do, and I had periods of my life where when I did, is often you're encouraged when you pray to start with sort of things that have gone well today or things that are going well. You say, the classic one is, thank you, God, for my daily bread. Certainly I was sort of taught to start praying by saying what you were happy for.
I mean, that's probably a Gales where you live as well, isn't it, Tommy? So you're well aware your daily bread.
How much for a croissant?
Just as an aside, I went to Aldi for an almond croissant this morning, 64p, I think it was.
Brilliant. I went to Aldi this evening. Love it.
That, gratitude.
Yeah, gratitude.
Right, let's move on. We've got 2 left. So, if you're feeling impatient.
Yeah, let's get on with this.
Suggestion is, come on.
Come on.
If you're feeling impatient, reflect on progress.
7 down, 1 to go.
Now, see, I don't know. I found this one slightly difficult because when I most feel impatient, it's when I'm running short of time, normally because I haven't left enough time. And so the example that comes up almost every episode, at least for me and Tommy, I'm running late for a train or a plane, but I've made time somehow to pick up some food or coffee from somewhere, and the person in front of me is taking forever. That's when I start to feel really impatient, and I don't know how I'd reflect on progress in that situation. Maybe it's not relevant there. I feel that this applies much more to a longer term impatience that you might have for something, getting a promotion, buying a house, getting funding for your idea that you want to develop. I don't know, something like that.
So for me, impatience often slips into angry and then sing. I am very impatient in many different things. And sometimes actually when I reflect, it makes me even more impatient because I'm like, yes, you look back and you go, oh, this has been going on for months now. Why is it not?
This is why you're a very good inventor.
You're reflecting on how little progress you've made.
Yeah.
Your impatience that leads to anger leads to a solution and a a new product on the market. Is this another one then that relates quite a bit to giving perspective?
It is for me. So I know your
voice of reason, John.
Well, no, with your situation about, standing in line and somebody's taking ages, I don't know if reflecting on progress is going to solve that one. But I know that I'm not always a great teammate because I'm always on to the next target, the next goal, the next project. And I want to keep making progress. And so in my mind, when I think about this, the times where people have encouraged me or forced me to stop and say, look at what you have done so far up to here. It doesn't all have to happen in a month, 6 months, a year or whatever. These things take time, like maybe selling a house or buying a house or whatever. But like if you're working on a project or you want to achieve something, I can tend to be hard on myself because I'm impatient to keep moving on. And I think reflecting on progress seems a really good thing. And I need that prompt in order to do that.
Good. Well, before Tommy gets angry, let's move on to the last one. If you're feeling lazy/lethargic,
sure,
I would put in there, here we go, instantly feel better by taking a cold shower. Ooh, it takes a lot to convince me to have a cold shower.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think of all of them here, this is probably the hardest one to actually go do.
But actually quite an easy one to do, but hard to force yourself to do.
I don't know many people who get out of a couch that looks as comfy as that and go and have a cold shower.
I mean, it's not common, and not many people who are in fact lethargic and stuck on the sofa are going to get up and have a cold shower. However, I do think if you did,
yes,
it would be incredibly effective.
Yeah.
I am not debating how effective it is. I know it works. I do it very rarely.
It's one of the hardest things to do in the world, I think. Just get into a cold shower. Force yourself to have a cold shower when you don't have to have a cold shower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, that whole like wild swimming and swimming in lakes and stuff, it has this kind of effect. It's kind of hard to be really lazy after you've come out of some cold water.
It's always totally energizing. I always feel absolutely amazing.
Like, what am I going to do today?
Yeah. I tell you what I did get into was icing my legs after lots of marathon training, so lots of long runs. I get in. I wouldn't ice, to be fair. I'd just run a cold bath and I'd get my legs into the cold bath, and that is great. It's brilliant. It is. You come out like, right, I'm knackered from having just run 30 kilometers, but I am so fired up. Let's go and do some stuff.
I think it's just putting your feet in cold water can also do a similar thing. Yeah.
Well, now we're talking.
So we could just do that. You're not making any progress at your desk. Just get a bucket of cold water, stick your feet in, see what you pump out next hour. Yeah.
And there's physiology, right? There's science behind this one as well. It's the opposite of the breathe effect, really, in many senses. It kicks in the fight or flight type reaction and response. Right, you've got all your good hormones, your dopamine, your endorphins are all flying, like shock to the system. Let's go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I should say the chap struggling with the shower there is the one I had in mind. I don't know if you've ever seen Groundhog Day, but there's like a few just random scenes of Bill Murray struggling to get the shower, which is either scalding hot or freezing cold.
Yes.
And it doesn't really bear on the story at all, except that he just hates being stuck in this place. But it's very funny watching him struggle with the freezing shower or the scalding shower.
It's the repetition of the gag that makes it so good, right, in Groundhog Day.
And is that where he starts every day as well?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, he wakes up in bed and then, I got you, babe.
Good for you. If you're feeling lazy and you go have a cold shower, let us know, because I'm impressed.
My wife's very good at it. Yeah. Well, there they are. 8 suggestions of how to instantly feel better from negative emotions by taking proactive action to move forwards.
I don't think you're going to be one of those headline writers in a hurry.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, I was just describing again.
Pithy comments and heckling.
Is there anything else anyone would like to add apart from the heckles, Tommy?
I got 2 quick things. One is that this list is about how to instantly feel better. And I think it's a fair point to make that these are short-term things rather than feeling better in the long term.
You're right.
And we've covered a bunch of other things about feeling good in the long term, things like the 5 ways to well-being one.
Yes, very good.
Which we spoke about. We should, I think if you did a lot of these in the short term, overall that will help in the long term. But these are not about long-term happiness. These are about instantly feeling better. And the other thing I was going to say was, when we talk about the walk, I think it was a little butterfly there, because I was imagining walking in nature. And as I was doing this, I just kept thinking, like, if I'm angry, going to walk in nature. If I'm burned out, walk in nature. If I'm overthinking, walk in nature. Anxious, walk in nature. Basically, I was thinking walk in nature is pretty much, the miracle cure that we have for so many things. And I learned the word as I was doing this and looking into it, for something called green prescriptions, which is basically if your doctor prescribes that you go spend time out in nature as part of your treatment, which is a lovely, essentially free medicine and tonic for the soul.
And I should say as well, you did a sketch for that as well, didn't you? Which you can see from the How to Instantly Feel Better sketch.
Yeah, it's somewhere down the bottom. It basically has I'll link to it. All of these with one simple solution.
Yeah, but it's a lovely picture as well about a guy walking in nature. I will link to it. In the show notes. Any overarching takeaways from this episode? Anything we've learned? I feel that this is a good reminder about how sometimes, or even a lot of the time, our immediate mood and emotions can be at least partially controlled by our actions, which is a nice reminder, I feel.
Yeah.
For me, like that discussion you mentioned about being burned out, and the fact that you can't always tell if you're burned out straight away. You might need somebody else to point it out for you. Actually, maybe I should get a little printout of this next to my desk as a prompt, just for
That's
each
nice.
of these, like you should, for getting out for a run when you're stressed about stuff. Or if you're just going round and round in your head, to just write some stuff down, or if you're feeling a bit sad, actually, these little prompts could be quite handy.
Johnny, that's lovely, because we go through all these and we've all basically said, yes, that's right. That's kind of not obvious, but yes, that definitely works. Yet I don't do all of these all the time when I feel some of these negative emotions, especially that stressed go and exercise one. But I know it works. But if there was a reminder there, that is a reminder to me saying, this works, so do it. That's good.
What I think you probably need is a printed mouse mat with it on, available via Jono's website with a little link to Redbubble by the looks of it for £18.67.
Good point.
There you go.
Quite right.
There you go. Lovely.
Laptop sleeve.
And the
framed aren't.
all of Jono's sketches are available in a number of different merchandise products. So do have a look at those as well, because they make great gifts. Well, as our first episode back for a wee while at least, I'm delighted that we've started there with that. I mean, I was feeling good at the start of the episode, as I said, but now I am feeling even better. I just am. And as a reminder, listeners, you can expect new episodes to be out every other Thursday, and there's a whole load of episodes in our back catalogue as well. So if you're a newcomer, then, well, firstly, welcome, but also please do have a look back at previous episodes. There's something in there for everyone. And I feel like the only instantly feel better advice I can follow now is down to the anger I'm feeling of coming to the end of this wonderful conversation. So that can only mean one thing. It's time to sing. Thanks for listening. Until next time, go well, stay well, goodbye.
You're an amazing singer.
See you, everyone.
All music on this podcast series is provided by the very talented Frank Cinelli. And you can find many more tracks at frankcinelli.com.